What's up, it's Cinema Shogun here, and look, it's no secret that this OceanGate Titanic sub story has gotten a lot of attention. And for some people, this is the first time in their lives, literally, that they even learned that people were diving that deep in the ocean. A lot of people live their lives, they go to work, they raise their kids, and they don't give a damn about anything that goes on. They don't know any of the stuff that we talk about on this channel, and they don't care. A lot of them have like 4th grade reading levels. They know nothing about history. They know nothing at all. So a lot of people were finding out for the first time that people were even diving down to the Titanic. For a lot of people, the OceanGate story was an introduction into the fact that we have been exploring our oceans for a long time. And I've seen countless people online questioning, why were they diving down there in the first place? What business do people have diving in the ocean in subs? And listen, I understand where people are coming from when they say that, because you're not going to catch me going to the bottom of the ocean in a sub. Yeah, I know that they've been doing this for decades, but you're never going to catch me doing it. But for a lot of people, they see this OceanGate story and, it got so popular, and they're not realizing that people have been diving down to the Titanic for years, probably before they were even born. A lot of people don't realize that. They see this OceanGate story and they think it's a one-off. Like, people were diving in this thing? And they don't realize that, no. The problem here is not that people are diving into the bottom of the ocean, which is something I would never do. The problem is that OceanGate was a complete mess. You know what I mean? For decades, for years and years and years, people have been diving deeper than the Titanic. As far as I know, I can't find any problems that anyone has had. And when I say problems, I'm sure people have had problems, but I haven't heard of any stories of people imploding and dying while diving down to the Titanic. And I know there's probably been some horror stories out there, but for the most part, you don't really hear about this stuff. And the fact that you don't hear about this stuff lets you know that their missions have been successful. Because if they were to get trapped in their sub, or if their sub imploded, we would hear about it all over the news, right? So every year there are hundreds of dives. Every year, people are diving down into the ocean, learning more about the bottom of the ocean. They say that we know more about space than the bottom of our ocean. And I find that really weird, right? But at the end of the day, I understand that it's very difficult to get down there. And when you go down there knowing there's a huge possibility that you never make it back up. Even if you're in the safest, most regulated sub in the world, the dangers are still there. In order to safely do this, everything has to go right. Not only does all of your equipment have to be working right, your mind has to be working right. There's no room for error. There's no room for mistakes, which is why these subs have to go through certain certifications. These subs are supposed to be regulated. You got to follow the rules. And these rules aren't there to stifle innovation. They aren't there to suffocate you and to stop you from creating new inventions. They're there to stop you from imploding at the bottom of the ocean, because unlike other scientific things and other experiments you may create, when there's an error on a sub that's 3,800 meters below the ocean surface, you don't get to learn from your mistakes. You see, a lot of scientists and a lot of creators and entrepreneurs, they get to learn from their mistakes. Trial and error, trial and error. When it comes to a sub, there is no trial and error. All of the trial and error, you got to take care of before that sub even touches the water. Because once an error happens when you're underwater, it's over with. You're not going to learn from that mistake. It's going to be the last mistake you make. So Stockton Rush, the CEO of OceanGate, in many ways, he's made this submersible community, this diving down into the ocean. He's made this more popular than ever. There's so many people around the world, and I see them on social media. I see them in my comment sections. I talk to them in real life, who just had no idea that this type of stuff has been going on for years. And now it's on their radar. And it's unfortunate that the only way it got on their radar is by someone exploding at the bottom of the ocean, but that's what happens, right? That's what happens. But I want people to understand that there are people out there who have been safely exploring for years, and that's what makes this story even more significant. If there was no such thing as diving to the bottom of the ocean and someone tried it and they imploded, it wouldn't be as big of a story or as big of a deal, in my opinion. The big deal here is that people have been safely doing this for years, and the one time someone stepped outside the box, decided, oh, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm not following the rules. I'm not following the regulations. I'm not going to get certified. I'm going to do my own thing. The one time someone steps outside of the box, poof, they're gone. And that's why, in my opinion, this story is so significant to me, because it puts a highlight on, just how badly OceanGate was operating. It puts a highlight on, just the amount of ignorance, negligence, you name it. Because if people 20 and 30 years ago were creating regulated crafts going even deeper than the Titanic, and here you are with your little experimental sub imploding in the ocean, it shows you why these regulations, certifications are necessary. But I just want people to understand that this is not something that happens often. Yeah, people dive down often, but as far as imploding goes, we haven't really heard about stuff like this happening. Of course, we always knew it was a possibility. And from what I hear, the people in the submersible community, they all knew it was a possibility. And one day something like this would happen. It's unfortunate it happened now, but hopefully people learn from it. But I want you all to watch this clip so you can hear from an expert about a little bit more about this ship, a little bit more about what went wrong, and you name it. Before you watch this clip, though, hit that thumbs up button. Hit the thumbs up button. It's free. I know. You maybe have pizza sauce on your hands. Maybe you've been eating Cheetos. Wash your hands. Hit the thumbs up button. Let's watch this clip. Then I'm going to be right back with a few more thoughts.
Will, you've been with us. You have said that this was 100% preventable. How so?
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, that's a tragic part. Look, why? Because we've been building, we as humanity, around the world. We've been building submersibles that go a lot deeper than 4,000 meters for decades, and we're operating it every year, hundreds and hundreds of dives reliably. We know how to make these machines. It's expensive, it takes a lot of work, but we know how to make these, and it is part of the process of certifying these submarines. It is well known in the industry, and it's just a matter of following the rules.
And in this case, the rules weren't followed. The guidelines for these submersibles weren't followed because of the design that Stockton Rush wanted, this carbon composite. And my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, the reason for this innovative design was really to be able to get passengers on board, to get more people on board, to have a bigger window, to make it essentially something that tourists could come and do. Is that correct?
In part, that's correct, but I just want to say the process of certification is for any design, right? Even if it hadn't been with a carbon fiber hull, you still go through the same process to certify it. The fact that the carbon fiber hull was present demanded special extra attention just because that had never been done before. And it meant an additional effort and probably quite a bit of extra testing to get passed through that certification process.
it would have delayed this company's ability to have passengers while they were waiting to go through all that testing. You spoke to Stockton Rush about your concerns, I understand. What was the response? How was that received?
Well, look, I mean, we're a small community, right? Within the Submersible Committee, we meet annually. It's a bit of a Thanksgiving reunion where the entire family around the world comes together for 3 days. And I mean, we'd had many conversations with Stockton. You know, the issuing of the letter and the discussion is like, look, you are going really fast over here, and you are ignoring some of the knowledge base that we have for these things. And the response, which is not completely unique in an industry, is, well, the existing regulations are stifling innovation and it's too slow and we have a better method. And it's like, well, you know, it's maybe not the only answer, but it is a reliable answer and a process that we know works. You put a design at the front and what comes out is a safe submarine. Developing an alternative method of self-certification, it's not forgiving. I mean, and it's a lot of people that put their minds to this to get humanity, I like to say, to a level of knowledge where we can go reliably to the deep ocean, because there's absolutely nothing easy about this.
Look, let's just keep it real. You know, I try to be as nice and respectful as possible because, you know, most of the stories I cover on my channel, they're really sensitive stories. But at the same time, they're often important stories. And, you know, you can't just always pull your punches. You can't just always take it easy on people. And, you know, I feel like in this situation with this OceanGate sub, there's a lot of questioning. There's a lot of pointing fingers trying to figure out what went wrong. Was it the carbon fiber? Was it the window that was not supposed to dive that deep? Was it because of the Xbox controller? Was it the weather conditions? Was it this? Was it that? And yeah, we could all look at the different factors that came into play here, you know, because there's a lot of things that went wrong. But at the end of the day, Stockton Rush is to blame. RIP. My heart goes out to his family. I know they're dealing with a crazy tough time right now. I'm also dealing with the loss of a family member. But at the same time, when we're all sitting here and everyone's trying to figure out what went wrong and millions of dollars are getting spent to figure out what went wrong, what was the cause of this issue, and the cause of the issue was Stockton Rush. You could look at the inanimate objects. Yeah, it's the carbon fiber. Look at this. It's the carbon fiber's fault. No, it's Stockton Rush's fault. At the end of the day, Stockton Rush made the decision to ignore their warnings. Stockton Rush made the decision to build the sub out of certain materials. Stockton Rush made the decision to dive into the water that day. Stockton Rush is behind all of these decisions. So yeah, we can continue to focus on the inanimate objects, the type of metal that was used, the type of Amazon PlayStation controller that was used, the type of glass that was used, the type of people who were on board. At the end of the day, it all comes back to one person and one person only. And as of right now, I feel like there's still a good bit of shying away from that. I can tell that the people in the submersible community, all of these sub pilots and creators that we're hearing from, they're telling you straight up, Stockton Rush. Yep, we told them, we talked to them, Stockton Rush. And in reality, that's who's to blame here. Everyone on board that craft lost their lives, mainly due to Stockton Rush. Now, they're grown men. They made their own decisions to get on that craft. But I'm sure they did so after much convincing from Stockton Rush, who convinced them that everything was safe. And we now know that even Stockton knew that his creation wasn't safe. He knew that problems were going wrong. And I doubt that he told people about those problems. Let me know your thoughts about this, though, down in the comments below, because there's no nice way to say this, but sometimes you just can't be nice. You know, there's nothing nice about imploding in the ocean, and there's nothing nice about the story just in general. So instead of shying away from the real issue and pretending like everything else is to blame, I think we really need to just be honest here. And if it wasn't for Stockton Rush and the way that he just ignored all of the warning signs and stuff, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. And as the CEO and the leader of your company, it's up to you to lead people in the right direction. You know, there's a lot of different types of people in this world. There's a lot of sheep, there's a lot of followers. And when they make mistakes, it's different than when a leader makes mistakes. Because as a leader, your job is to lead. And it looks like Stockton Rush was leading a whole entire business in the wrong direction. It's your voice. It's up to you to lead these people. And you were all leading them astray, having them create ships and subs with materials that everyone knew wouldn't work, convincing them that what they were doing was innovative and cool. And now, not only did all of these people lose their lives, I would think that a lot of the employees at OceanGate, they're probably going to have trouble getting jobs in the future. If I'm someone that's working on subs and an OceanGate employee comes to me wanting a job, I'm going to say, hell to the no. Get out of here. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want any of y'all working with me. And I think that Stockton Rush, when the ship imploded, not only did he give everyone involved with OceanGate a bad name, he gave the entire submersible community a bad name. And I've talked about that before. But from here on out, these other companies getting funding to do these missions where they go diving and exploring and learning new things, he's going to make it more difficult, or this situation made it more difficult for everyone in the community. And that sucks, considering the fact that a lot of these people have been creating crafts and diving down to the bottom of the ocean for years without any problems because they followed the rules and regulations. And yeah, I understand that rules and regulations can get in the way of innovation, but I want you to go look at some of the subs and crafts that these people have created. And you tell me that's not innovative, okay? Let me know your thoughts about this, though, down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit the thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.